Welcome back to Social Data Analysis. I'm sure you're doing R now and you are writing very long R scripts. But as you start writing very long codes, you might want to be able to order your codes, give some headings in your code, and be able to run through your code iteratively and with ease without scrolling up and down. What I'm going to show you in this lesson helps you to put your codes in order so you know wherever something is at. You can also run iteratively inside your code, click something, and it takes you right there. And it saves you time from having to browse and getting confused with where you typed something and then giving up on R. So let's get into the lesson so you don't give up on R programming. As you can see, I have quite a long code here that is not as nice as it could be. You want to come back to your R code in 6 months and know exactly what you did or what you were trying to do 6 months ago. So let's try to polish this a bit, and this is what I want to show you for today. But the most important thing is the headings. So just stay with me and then let's go through this. Let's start by giving this some heading, right? Let's call this learning comments and headings, right? So that the next time we come back to our code, we know, okay, this is what this whole code is about. Now, as you can see, everything here is trying to generate some data set with random numbers. But if you don't leave a code in this area, you might not know exactly what you are trying to do. So let's write something here, right? And then I advise that this is how you should write your code all the time. Generate a data set, right? Generate a data set. Now there are a lot of codes here that are not commented. It's quite boring to comment your code, but it's also very helpful for you because you're able to come to your work and know exactly what you are doing. Now let me comment some of them, and my advice is that try to comment your code anytime you write them. It's boring, but it helps you save time in the future. Now on line 8, this code is trying to generate some random numbers for a height variable. If you give your script to someone who is trying to learn R, or if you give the script to your supervisor, he wouldn't know. Let's write generate random numbers for height, right? So if you give this code to someone, the person knows exactly what you're trying to do on line 8. I advise you do that almost everywhere in your code, right? If it's possible, unless it's so obvious, leave a comment in your code. But the most important thing I want to show you today are the headings that R has for demarcating your script and also being able to run through your code with ease iteratively. Okay, so this whole chunk of code we have here has the first part generating some data set, and then the second part doing some summary statistics. We have some data visualization here and things like that. So I'm going to leave headings in my code that allows me go straight to some part of my code without having to run down these without having to scroll down each and every time looking for something in my code. The first heading I want to show you is heading number 1, right? So in your R, if you put in a hash key like this and you write heading and then you key in 4 extra hash keys, it creates a heading that allows you move iteratively to code number 3 all the time. Now come here on your right hand side, you see this place they have source here, and then there's this horizontal lines here. If you click on the horizontal line, you realize that the heading here has been created. Now I want to change my heading to something quite more meaningful. Let me call it creating my data. Creating my data. All right. Now the first part of creating my data was to generate a data set. Instead of making it just a comment, I can make it a subheading that comes under the broad heading of creating my data. Now to create a subheading, which I'll call heading number 2, you include you still have your hash sign come first, you have your title, and then after that you include equal to 4 = signs, right? So if you have 4 = signs, you realize that it just created a subheading. Now, if I was somewhere down in my code and I wanted to go straight to where I generated my data set, I don't have to scroll up. I just have to create this generated data set and it takes me right up, right? So it saves you time, and then it's much more easier to work with your script if you have these headings. So I can do the same for data processing here. I'm going to put in 4 = signs. It creates a heading for that. I can do the same here also, right? So now I have a main heading and I have subheadings that anytime I create, it takes me straight to that heading. This is cool, right? It saves you time. Now there's heading number 3 that I want to show you, and we can use code line number 32 for that. So heading number 3 is sort of another subheading under your heading number 2. Now this we're gonna use simple hyphens. All right, so with 4 hyphens, so again you have your hash sign coming first, whatever title you want to give to your code, and then with 4 hyphens you can create another subheading, which is sort of heading number 3, a subheading under the other heading. You can use anything you want. You can use the hash signs, you can use the equal tos, you can use the hyphens. But if you create it in order, it helps you really make sense of your code. So for example, you realize that my heading number 1 is all in capital letter. For example, you can see that my heading number 1 is quite bigger than my heading number 2, and heading number 2 is quite bigger than heading number 3. So anytime you look at your headings inside the heading section, you're able to see what was your main title, what was your subtitle, and things like that. It really helps you. Now let me come down here and do something similar down there. And okay, so here I did some geospatial operations. I can put in heading number 3 somewhere here, and up here I can do heading number 2. This is where I start my spatial analysis. Now if I'm right on top of my code, I can go straight to my spatial analysis without having to scroll down. So if you had a very long code and then you added these headings to your code, you can just move straight to your code without having to scroll down and getting confused. Okay, where am I at, and things like that. This is cool. All right, if you haven't subscribed to social data analysis, please do that. We're going to bring you more content like this. See you in the next video. Bye.